And do we have our Substack link up and
Yeah,
going? Or I guess he's doing that after this.
yeah. So we are live now.
Okay. Hey, everybody. This is Joel with iodnations.org. Doesn't look like we have anyone in there yet. Um, Rakesh, did you get a chance to see the video that Draco's working on?
No,
I think it might be a pretty good one. Do we know are Chardonnay and Peter going to be here today?
yeah, I have sent the link to them. Let me
Okay.
ask them again.
And then ask Draco if he can share the Substack link in here as soon as he has it.
Okay, I'm sharing it.
If he can share the Substack link in here as soon as he has it.
Okay, I'm sharing it.
There
So,
he is.
hey Joel, I have sent the link in our group chat.
Okay. Wow, we have 16 people already. Hey, everybody, welcome to iodnations.org. My name is Joel, and I'm the founder. And we've got a good show for you today. Hopefully, we are going to have a new a modification. It's a new video that will we will bring in Audrey Tang from Taiwan, and you'll get to hear her talk about V Taiwan. And V Taiwan is the online citizen-led democracy that Taiwan has integrated with their. Hey, Vivian, how are you? Taiwan has integrated their citizenry and their platform with their traditional government. And she has been doing all manner of um, podcasts and interviews and things like this all over the world. And they have created this model and they're setting it up and they're now sharing it with the world. And so they're encouraging um, nations um, to utilize what they've learned and the platforms and the portals that they've got in order to integrate the citizens of any country in the world. Or the reality is what you're going to hear about today when we talk about this on IOD Nations is you can you can make any group a nation. Any group like the women of the world can become an online democratic nation, and they can use these platforms and they can design their own online citizen-led governance model. And you can get ideas from V Taiwan and how they are doing that. Hey, Jan, welcome. Where in California are you from? We're just going to chat for a little bit before we get into the meat of the show to let more people get in here. I'm in Central California. My name is Joel. I'm the founder of IOD Nations. So we're glad to have you here, Jan. Anyone who wants to comment in the live chat, we welcome that. It's really important to how the algorithms work and how they read us. Viva democracy. That is what we are about, Viva. We are talking about online citizen-led democracy all the way from a local level up to an international level. And we're glad to have you here. Thanks for coming in. So, if any of you would like to comment, feel free to do so. The guys, if you are in our Zoom feed, you can see uh, I'm Joel. I'm the founder of IOD Nations, and you can see Draco is our AOP, our Agent of Peace, and Rakesh is here, and Rakesh is just doing all manner of different work, heading up this project and working with us on it. And then we have our one of the guys working behind the scenes for IOD Nations to communicate with everyone. So we're going to just keep chatting for a little bit as people roll in. Can anybody tell us how did you hear about us and what have you heard about us? Are you familiar with V Taiwan or online citizen-led democracy? Any of the changes that are happening out there and what's going on? If anybody has any insight on that, and then the the guys will share a Zoom link if you would like to come over and chat with us. If you don't know, at IOD Nations, we do not charge subscribers in order for them to be able to chat with us, to comment with us, to get access to all of our content. We are here not to make money. We're here for the sole purpose of promoting online citizen-led democracy across the world. And we are glad to have you here. Hey, Julie, William, Nancy, Linda, Priscilla, Becky. Wow, thanks. So people are starting to roll in. We're going to get to the show in just a bit. Hey, Draco, can you tell me, were you able to get a version of that new video um, that we'll be
Yes.
able to use?
Yeah, yes, it's ready to
Okay.
share.
Okay. And then also, last week I had asked you to create or to clip a longer segment of the Simon Sinek video. Do you remember that?
Yes, I have a video of Simon Sinek.
Is it that new longer one that we talked about?
I'm not sure about, but right now we have Jay Jimenez with us in Zoom.
Hey Jay, how are you? You want to come in and say hi and tell us how you
Oh,
got here?
hello. I just got a notification.
Okay. are you familiar with online citizen-led democracy and some of the stuff that's going on around the world with that?
I am not.
So in Taiwan in 2014, there was a rebellion that was led primarily by young people, and it was called the Sunflower Movement. And the citizens of Taiwan only had a 9% approval rating of their government in 2014. And they felt that the government wasn't transparent. They felt that the government wasn't functioning the way that it could, and it wasn't representing the people the way they wanted it to. And so, as a part of that, um, a gal named Audrey Tung and a bunch of others, all of the citizens of Taiwan in essence, but a group of them began building applications and a portal to integrate with the traditional government of Taiwan. And they call it V Taiwan. And over the years it's evolved. We'll share a number of different videos with you today to kind of introduce you to the concept. And they reached a citizen approval rating of their government of 70%. So they went from 9% to 70% by creating this online application infrastructure that the citizens could use to propose ideas to the government that they wanted dealt with. And if 5,000 of the citizens voted yes, that they wanted the government to deal with an issue, the government of Taiwan was committed to dealing with that issue. And I believe at this point they have about 50% of the citizens of Taiwan are registered online and are integrated and working with their government. Hey, Chardonnay, welcome. Good to see you. So, have you ever heard of anything like that? I'm going to call you Jay because that's what I see.
No, but it sounds like it would not work in this country. I mean, for the
Oh,
government to be
really?
accountable, well, for the government to be accountable to its citizens, because that's what it sounds like you're saying to me about Taiwan. They were accountable to their citizens.
Yeah, why wouldn't that work in the United States?
Because unfortunately, we're headed towards a authoritarian society. It seems, even though the approval rating for this administration is very low, we don't have Congress nor at this point the Supreme Court operating in the interests of the people.
So, have you just given up then? You don't believe we should try anything different or
Oh
anything
no, no,
new
no,
to
no, no! I will never give up. But what
so
outside of
so
the
well, it'll be very interesting. We'll let you go through the show today. What we propose is, and I'm not trying to be harsh on you in any way, right? What we propose is taking an attitude of what can we do and what might work. So we we are trying to change that narrative, right? Um, we're not going to accept that there isn't something out there that might work. We're going to try and propose an idea for you that maybe at the end of the show you might feel a little bit differently. So it'll be really interesting to let you watch what we're doing and work through the whole process and see what you think. I look forward to that.
okay, same here.
Okay. Um, so we're up to about 42 people. Before we go into our first video where we share some things with you, Draco, I think we should let's go with the Crazy Diamond video as our first thing that we play, but I'm going to talk for a couple more minutes. So, there's someone who joined. It says Art B3ing. So, Art, I don't know if your art is intended as a name or as a supporter of the art world and artists. And yes, Nancy, it is radically innovative and it's insanely grounded, right? Our basic premise is anywhere in the world throughout history, democracy is effective based upon two things. How many people do you have collaborating who are pro-democracy? And how well are they collaborating? Right? I mean, that is in essence what democracy is. A democracy, like when the United States was founded, a democracy makes up its government and its rules and its guidelines. And then the people in that democracy collaborate and they try to create that democratic society in a way that benefits as many people in as many ways as possible. And what we talk about here is the fact that nobody's doing this online, right? Every business we have, all of our politicians, all of our corporations, all of our causes, they're all online in small groups. And we're going to show you a way that they can unite online and collaborate. And that's what we're here for. So when I was referring to art, my question would be, and we just did an article about this. If you're an artist or a woman and you had the opportunity to join an online art nation, the International Online Democratic Art Nation. And so all kinds of artists from all over the world, there's a million of them united online, and they're setting up their own economy. So, for instance, they may choose to create their own streaming service for music that benefits musicians and artists instead of large corporations who are trying to destroy our democracy and supporting this oligarchy and authoritarian regime. So, as an artist, if there was an online democrat, the International Online Democratic Art Nation, would you send them an email and say, hey, I'm an artist. I'd like to be a citizen of this online democracy that represents artists? That's what we're here to propose. And women can do the same thing. Women make up something like 51% of the world's citizens, and yet they've traditionally, throughout history, been left out of governance unless you were an Iroquois Indian who had the what were they called? The grandmothers group. I forget what the name of the group was, but basically in Iroquois society before white men came here and changed everything, okay? These grandmothers, this council, the Iroquois Grandmothers Council, they were the ones who decided when the tribe would move to a location. They would decide where the tribe would go for the next hunt, okay? They would make decisions about the society and how the tribe would function. The warriors and the men, they would, once the grandmothers decided where the Iroquois would go and when and for how long, the warriors would go out and hunt and either, fight to attack someone or fight to defend their tribe. And there was that balance. And we've never had that in our democratic world. Iceland is probably the closest where they pass laws and they, by law, like all upper level political positions, management positions, all of that in Iceland need to be 50-50, women or men. And so the question is, if that nation, the IOD Women's Nation, the International Online Democratic Women's Nation, or the IOD Art Nation or IOD Youth Nation, if any of those nations was up and functioning, would you try to collaborate with them and possibly become a citizen like the citizens of Taiwan did? And that's what we propose, and that's what we're talking about. We're here to look at online citizen-led democracy in ways that haven't happened before. So we are going to open the show today, and we're going to play a video that we made. Draco's going to load it up here. And Draco and Rakesh, if you see them on the screen, they're both from Bangladesh, and they're working on this project for, with me and for me, because they believe in this idea. And if you don't know the story about Bangladesh, they had a rebellion and an uprising between 2 and 3 years ago. They overthrew their corrupt authoritarian government. A lot of young people and other people got in and tried to get their government up and functioning, but they weren't successful. They didn't have enough backing. They didn't have enough organization. And now at this point, they've lost it. And the elections just happened a couple months ago, and they are now back to a more authoritarian government, and that's where we are. Draco, should I think about that video being uploaded, or are you having some issues?
No issue. I can share it now.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Welcome everybody who's come in. MJ, I am a slow talker. We will, if you either leave us an email in here or shoot us an email, and we will get you a transcript of this. Rakesh, can you work with MJ and make that happen? That would be awesome if you could. So
Yes,
thank you.
I already saw his message, and I will share it with him.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so here we're going to, Travis, we would love to work with you, and we hope you'll stick around through the show. And make sure we get your email, because we're going to do an email campaign you'll see why in just a little bit, to Trevor Noah, Simon Sinek, and Stephen Bartlett, who has the second largest podcast in the world. So let's go ahead. Draco's going to play you a video that has Audrey from Taiwan. I
Can we
believe
just
this
show it?
interview
Because I think
was with the Harvard Business School. So we'll go ahead. Thanks.
If you decimate the trust in democratic processes and let people, fight against each other about the outcome of election, that is one of the most sure way to decimate people's trust in democratic institutions.
So In this clip, we see Audrey talking about how Taiwan and the Taiwan and the citizens of Taiwan are working together to improve and maintain the belief in their voting system. We're specifically talking about the credibility of democratic voting. And so what they did is they made sure that all voting is done with paper ballots. Okay. I'm not quite sure whether they're doing mail-in ballots with that or not, but I think they could be, because I believe what she is referring to is how they're monitoring the counting of those ballots. And so the citizens asked all three major parties who are really possibilities in this voting system. They asked them to set up their own independent cameras where the votes are being counted. And then if any complaints came out about the voting process, they asked all three parties to submit their videos of that counting process at that location. And what ended up happening was they got the leaders of all of those parties to say, we've looked at all the videos, and they confirm that there were no problems with the counting of the votes. We all agree that it was legitimate and properly conducted. And again, that's being done to maintain the integrity of voting in the democratic process.
Actually, regardless of which party they support, there's no such rigging going on. And all the three party leaders came out and said, yeah, there's no such rigging going on. So again, by anticipating what attack is going on and letting people know that these attacks are coming, it inoculates their minds against such polarization.
And what this does when this happens a couple of times is it inoculates the citizens who are voting from getting caught up in the propaganda and the lies, right? In V Taiwan, they call it pre-bunking. And you're going to see an example of that in just a minute. They debunk these ideas ahead of time by putting in a system and a strategy and tactics that show that the voting system is working. And so the citizens are inoculated. They know that some of this bad shit's going on, and they don't even pay attention to it. Or if they do, as we're going to show you, they have a place to go and find out whether what's being said is true or has any validity.
If you were digital minister for the United States today, what one or two strategies would you deploy right now?
Yeah, so again, one of the sure things is pre-bunking, and the other thing is like rapid response to the trending rumors.
Audrey's talking about pre-bunking, which we touched on, and she's going to share an application. So that pre-bunking is either giving people a place where they can find out whether what's being said is true or how valid it is, but also that at the same time inoculates people, because once they start believing that you can get factual truth, then they begin to filter things from a standpoint of, I know there's a bunch of bullshit out there that's flying around that's not true, that's distracting people, and that's hurting our democracy, right? But I'm inoculated from that because I know there's a place I can go find the truth, and I can now kind of recognize how these propagandists and liars function and what they're trying to do to hurt democracy.
In Taiwan, we have a collaborative fact-checking network built by the civil society called CoFacts. And anyone can just long press any rumor that they receive and report that into a shared dashboard. And so we can very easily see what are trending right now, what kind of rumors and mis and disinformation are trending.
And so here with this application called Kofax, what Taiwan has done is they've kind of combined or they've piggybacked from the debunking where you can find out what's not true. They have Kofax in which the system, I believe, if I understand it correctly, the system is allowing the citizens to participate in putting in information, sharing some of the stuff that's out there, and they put it into Kofax, and Kofax has an AI that is already set up to cast a wide web of all of the or a lot of the shit that's out there. They bring it in, they focus on what's true and what's not true and what are the trends in society. So not only does Kofax give a way for people to help contribute to making sure that the truth is known, okay? Kofax also tracks and helps manage the propaganda and lies that are getting the most traction. And it helps evaluate that, probably has the ability to determine where some of those sources are. And all of a sudden now, with Kofax and debunking, you're really they've built this infrastructure that provides the citizens with ways not to just get the truth, but to participate in making sure that the truth is known. And they're using AI to do that, to really filter it and get to those truths much more quickly and efficiently. Pretty amazing, isn't it?
And now the Kofax community works with language models with AI so that the AI is able then to compare a incoming trending rumor with all the debunk and pre-bunk rumors before and offer this kind of first take that can then inform the citizenry.
Here, Audrey explains exactly what I was just talking about, how the two systems work together and how they use AI as an efficient and accurate and unbiased way to get to the root of those things for the citizens.
This kind of debunk bot is also available in the US. So I would advise that people try it out at debunkbot.com.
Debunkbot.com.
Imagine in the United States, I mean, especially in the United States, because we are currently subject to perhaps the most corrupt and insidious propaganda, misinformation, and lies in the history of our country, which is currently coming from the GOP and the far-right Christian leaders of that party who have taken control. All right, that's where we are. And here, Taiwan is telling you, here's the debunk bot that is available to anyone in the world. So right now, we as a nation of pro-democracy citizens, we could unite online democratically, right? Imagine if we had 1 million US citizens who began using the debunk bot and posting those results and showing why they trust it and what the accompanying evidence is. It would be a system where even the citizens who don't agree with the answers, they could actually come in and participate. And if they don't participate, that's up to them, because the citizens of the United States who are committed to making sure that there's a place to go where the citizens are ensuring that truth and accuracy and fact is the foundation of our democracy, we don't have to wait for other people to give us permission to do that, right? We are free, democratic, and self-determinate citizens in the United States of America. And what Audrey is doing and Taiwan and V Taiwan are doing is they're literally showing us how this is already being done from an online citizen-led democratic movement that began in Taiwan 11 years ago, or in 2014, 12 years ago now, and has been steadily improving to get to this point. And the transition for Taiwan, they went from a 9% approval rating of their government to where now they're they got up to 70%. I believe that may have dropped a bit, and there were some other areas that it's gone up into the 90s. But they actually have a functional government that has a way to deal with propaganda and lies and misinformation that is led by the citizens. The citizens are the ones who made this happen because they united online to put all of this in place during the Sunflower Movement back in 2014. And don't we all want a more truthful, factual, honest way of getting information that we can depend on? And aren't we all looking for ways that we can do something to help make a difference? At IOD Nations, what we're telling you is it's right here, it's right now. If we unite online as if it, in the United States as the online democratic US citizens, right? If we do that, if enough of us do that, we start championing and imposing truthful, factual, online citizen-led democracy in our country. But if all we're going to do is complain about what the problems are and not participate in those problems, we're not going to be effective. And this is why at IOD Nations we say you can achieve all of your goals and objectives on saving or salvaging parts of our existing broken democracy, but also on building the next new bold democracy for the United States and all across the world. And you can do it at the tap of a screen or the click of a mouse. And you go to one location and you unite and collaborate and start working together, and we will achieve more than you've ever imagined. And that is how IOD Nations recommends and urges that we unite online as pro-democracy citizens and build the next great democracies. So imagine you're the citizens of Iran and the citizens of the United States of America, okay? And let's take what Taiwan is doing on a national level, and now let's turn it towards international, which is where all the big conflicts happen, right? The big conflicts that are going on in the world right now and the big issues, a lot of them are between different nations. And imagine if the citizens of Iran and the citizens of the United States had the ability to use debunk.com and to learn in real time and to know what is actually happening between the two countries, right? What political negotiations are really happening? What is the best known status of Draco, let's go ahead and pause that right there. What So this is a new video, and I think we can tell by watching it that I probably got a little bit verbose and was talking too long. What we're trying to do is find a way to use clips of Audrey without getting blocked by YouTube. And they only want you to use really short clips. And so we were trying to break this into short clips, and I think we could have done a much better job. So, Draco, let's go ahead and get the video, the Earth video that explains the ideas around IOD nations. It's a shorter video, and for everyone who's new here, it will introduce you to the concepts of, further on what we mean when we talk about IOD nations and why we control the internet if we choose to. So Draco's going to pull that up. So I'll ask Jay. Oh, here we go. Draco's got it ready.
Welcome to
So here you go. This will
IOD Internet.
Go ahead, Draco.
National Online Democratic Nations.org, where we're promoting online citizen-led democracy, very much like Taiwan has had for the last 11 years, which has resulted in increased public approval of their government from 9% to 70%. There are three fundamental premises. One is that if a business no longer requires brick and mortar, then a nation no longer requires land and borders. The second one is we are the internet. We do not access the internet. We grant the internet access to us. Without us, they ain't shit. And the third foundational premise is if you are not actively pro-democracy, if you are not pro-democracy, then you are not pro-democracy. So Bernard Shaw said, you see things and ask why. I dream things and ask why not. This is planet Earth. Humans have existed on planet Earth first as tribes and now as nations. Nations are the highest form of human collaboration that has ever existed. But does a nation require land and borders? In this next slide, you see us, the humans, the world's citizens who are on planet Earth. Currently, we are being used and abused like crops or cattle or swine. And we are being exploited. About 30 years ago, Al Gore invented the internet. And at IOD Nations, we ask you to consider looking at the internet as if it's its own environment or atmosphere, and it completely surrounds planet Earth and all of human existence now. So our world has changed in ways that were never viable or did not exist until Al Gore invented the internet. And now this is what's happening on the internet. We currently have these entities. These are a visual simulation of some of the most powerful and influential entities in the internet, but they are not the internet. They have trained us, in essence, to think that they are the internet. And the arrows that you see going out is this representation that we have. If I were to ask anyone here, do you access the internet? And virtually everyone would say yes. And that's what the arrows demonstrate, is that we are accessing them. And these are bad actors. They are malicious. They are destroying world democracy. And they believe that they've also already obtained dominion over the internet. But here's what they don't realize. We are the commodity that they market. Without us, Facebook can't sell advertising. We think that we're actually accessing Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. But the reality is we're granting them access to us. But if we choose to unite online, as for instance, the IOD US Nation, the IOD Women's Nation, the IOD UK Nation, these are citizen-led unifications. They are separate from our existing traditional governments. These nations, like the IOD Youth Nation and the IOD Art Nation, they can have their own constitution. They can have their own Bill of Rights or Declaration of Independence. They can have their own voting systems with ranked choice voting if they want. They are their own nations. They are their own entities. But what is amazing about this is by uniting online and establishing some filters, we realize that we can set up filters.
Can you pause that there, Draco?
Not grant them to.
So when you're looking at this image and you have the second white circle inside, and then in there, you can see planet Earth, you can see all the citizens on planet Earth, and they've united online to form, for instance, the IOD Women's Nation, or the IOD Youth Nation, or the IOD Art Nation, or IOD USA Nation, where the citizens of the United States can unite online and they can establish their own governance system, much like and use the tools that Taiwan has created. And so once you get a large enough group of people who are united online under the banner of being pro-democracy, they can determine the filters for who can access you, why they can access you directly, and how they can access you. And so what you're seeing, for instance, is YouTube or Reddit are shown at the top, where they're trying to access and it bounces back, because the online citizens of the world can say, we're not going to allow you as a streaming service or as a online portal for communication or whatever. We only want to work with entities like you that are proven to be pro-democracy. And if you're not acting in a way that's pro-democracy, we're going to put up filters that are going to bounce your access to us back. And we're flipping the script. So go ahead, Draco. Thank you.
Direct access to us, because we are the internet. Without us, they ain't shit. Okay? When we unite and we establish that every entity that wants unfiltered access to us, whether that's economically, socially, religiously, politically, internationally, if they want access to us, we require that they prove that they are pro-democracy. Otherwise, they get filtered access to us. And at this moment, when we do this, we have completely flipped the script, right? All we have to do is target any one of these entities or any one entity with enough people united online, and then everybody, all of the others, once you down one or once you significantly impact one, all of the others, if you're large enough, if you're united enough, if you're collaborating well enough, they all start coming to us. Then when that happens, we aren't in this feed trying to figure out how to protect ourselves from them. They're in a feed like this trying to figure out what they need to do to get access to us so that their business models stay viable. And if they don't adapt, if they don't demonstrate that they're pro freedom and democracy, we are the internet. Without us, you ain't shit. And that's when we flip them off and we let them know that the whole dynamics of what's going on in the world have just shifted. And everything, economically, socially, militarily, politically, it's all now put into the hands and largely controlled by the pro-democracy citizens of the world who have united online.
Okay, so let's go into the group chat. Anyone who is in the Substack who would like to come over and talk with us is welcome. We would love to have you get involved if we've opened your eyes or shared anything with you that surprised you. I'll ask Jay first. Jay, did any of that make any sense? Did that register with you at all? Okay. It doesn't look like Jay is there. Chardonnay, I noticed that you had your hand up earlier. What are you thinking?
Uh, I had written it into the chat, but I forgot to write it down on on my own paper. So forgive me because now it's going to be. Before I do that, hi everybody that's come in. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for joining us. Um, it's wonderful to have you here with us. Okay, I wrote it into the chat, but I didn't. The website that she gave us. By the way, that wonderful woman that was in the video was the very first. She was a first in many ways to be doing all that, but she was a first. She was the youngest woman and the first transgender. So to have that job, and I just think that's wonderful. And so she's great. She's easygoing. She says she uses any pronouns you want to use for her. She's open to
Oh,
using any of
really?
them. Yep. She says she's open to using any of them. But I just decided she fascinated me when I saw her and I had to learn more about her. So she's a very, very interesting, brilliant, brilliant person. So you can
Yeah, I mean,
use they or the she pronouns or they or but yeah, first transgender. So congratulations
it's
to that. But she was just fascinating. And when she was talking about that, I'll let you I just want to finish my thought before it goes. But it made me think about when we're talking about the groups and the groups we can start and everything. I wondered if we couldn't start a group that would be an international group about uh, intercepting or doing, following that website that she gave and saying, like a nip it in the bud group kind of thing about how we could get things is Mr. Perfect showed up. Yay. Hi, Peter. Thank you for coming. Oh, I missed your face. But if we couldn't do that, and set it up so that we could just suggest things to each other about how we could, when we hear something, just kind of making little kind of noises in the background, even if somebody from a country is hearing it before everybody else hears it in their country. Just that there's little sounds of, oh, so and so can't be trusted because whatever. And they made it up. And we could just all kind of jump on it. All of a sudden, like, you know, there's no truth in the matter of, but you don't do it that way. But, in a fun sort of, like they're using Legos. And so we put it out because Rakesh and Draco, my lord, they come out with some really fun stuff. So, and other people can come up with fun stuff and just kind of jump on it and just turn it into a joke right away before it even has chance to take hold anywhere. That it's a joke. It's there's no truth to it. So before they can make it a reality, it's over. It's over before it's begun anywhere in the world.
And
Because
I think
our group stopped it.
that is what they're doing, right? Is they have a
Yes.
combination of the citizens being involved and sharing these things, either from a
Yes.
standpoint of trying to learn what's real, or
Yes.
to alert them of something that's a problem. And they've got their AI set up so that it reviews the whole thing, it compares it to all these other different reports of it, what other citizens are saying, and then the AI comes out and gives you a preliminary analysis citing some sources, right? And it says,
Exactly.
we've looked at this. This is what we know is true. This is what we know isn't true. And then all of the citizens who are online as a part of that government can just go right there and they can go, hey, wait a minute. Is Chardonnay really um, um, you know, pardon me for saying this Chardonnay because my mind's going blank right now. Is Chardonnay's running for office? Is Chardonnay really an animal abuser, right? And then they go in and they find out, oh, hell no, Chardonnay's not an animal abuser. She donates to animal rights stuff all of the time. And this is just something that people are saying to discredit Chardonnay so that when you see her and she's running for office, you won't vote for her. And they flip that script right away. And what I was saying is not only that, they can go back and look at where's the source of this? Who's putting this out? How can we begin blocking them from having access because they're not operating with good intentions? And you just create this world where we actually have a much better idea of what's true, and all of that stuff. So it really is interesting, isn't it? You're on mute, Chardonnay.
There we go. I had another call. I'm never that popular. Okay. We used to have the seven eyes before Trump blinded us. So now there's six, I think. I don't know. But okay, but we can set up like this would be like more than the seven eyes because we're in countries now. We'd be in countries that we were never in. And so we'd have all of these hundreds of eyes all over helping people see reality, not see lies. And it would be so exciting because places that never had access to, reality, to truth, to God, now it sounds like Superman. But we'll be jumping off buildings in one leap. But people will be able to see and hear and know, whether it's through online, whether it's through flyers. I don't care how it gets to people. We can do it through smoke signals. I don't care. People are going to know the truth. And I love it because it's exciting and I want people to be connected. We're going to start online
Yeah.
and then it's going to take over. Because I don't want
Yep.
anybody to be in the dark. If they don't want to be in the dark, if you want to live in a cave and just relax, bless your heart and every other part of you. But if you want to know and you want to be connected, but with love, then we're here for you. And we want to keep you safe. The end
I'm gonna
or the
invite
beginning.
Peter in to introduce himself and tell everybody where he's from and what he's working on. And then I would like to come over. Michelle Mason said, I'm not sure I even get how any of it works, but give me step-by-step ways to unite in democracy. I don't know the jargon, but I know I'm ready for truth. So, Michelle, we're going to introduce you to Peter, and then that is just like the perfect question. So, thank you so much for asking that, and we'll come in and talk about that. So, Peter, what's going on?
Good afternoon, guys. Draco,
Hey.
Rakesh, I think that's Rakesh in the room,
Mm-hmm.
and
Can
Chardonnay,
be
of
there.
course. I can never forget Chardonnay. And Joel, how you doing?
I'm doing
Yeah, that
good. Good to
question,
see you.
good to see you guys. That question is right on because I was confused too when I first came here, and I thought my direction was, I'm going to fix democracy, and I'm looking at politics. Just that I'm focused on a specific part of this, the movement I was trying to look for. And looking for it alone, doing it alone, I knew linear thinking is not going to help anything. So I stumbled across this site called International Online Democracy for Nations. Uh, so this concept in my mind, goes something like this. We have these groups of people around the globe, and they're Substacks, whatever, and they're trying to form their own like-minded groups. And there's a whole bunch of them, and they're all want to do good. They want to change something, and they're going to say, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this, and they're doing it in their own ways, but it's not making that much of a mark because there's not enough of them. A lot. So we know now through what's happening in the world, we need alliances. So with this, what Joel came up with, and by the way, I just caught the tail end of it about Taiwan. It's already happening. So, if you want a base model, you just go study that one. And this is what we're trying to do in North America and then spread it around the world. So I lost track of what I was going to say, but I'm going to pick up from where I remember. So this concept all of a sudden came on to me, whereas, yes, I understand this, but if there's a nation, let's say nation of women, a nation of man, nation of animal lovers, a nation of veterinarians, whatever nation you want, you're comfortable with, and they get together and they say, hey, we don't like what they're doing in next door here, puppy farms, and we're going to get on this, and we're going to make a change in the law because this is so. That group, veterinarians, meets up with this group of animal lovers, and they start this movement. 100,000 people. Does that really move mountains? It might. It might not. Probably not. But imagine this: all these nations know there's the International Online Democratic of Nations just sitting there with like-minded people who think of it in a democratic way of rules-based justice and in a democratic way. So think of all those people that have joined this movement. Let's think big. Let's go big. Let's don't think small anymore. Let's think there's 1 billion people out there. Yes, they all have their own groups that they attend, but they also are connected to this huge mass of people, like-minded, who they can go into and say, "What do you think about this?" And now, in the democratic way, they take votes, they get the algorithms. I don't know anything about that because I'm not tech savvy. I have no idea about that, but I know it can be done. That I know. And they go into this great big cloud of people, just billions of them, and they take your idea and then they go with you, they work with you. That would move a mountain. And then I don't want to lose you here, but then I sat back after a month or two because I had to absorb all this. And then I realized the potential of everything else. I'm not going to I'll let Joel go into that more because I'm just processing this myself. The potential of making humanity better. That's the prize. That's the prize. And all the tools, I mean, I think a lot of us are seeing the issues here, and we're coming to face it. We're reflecting and we're looking in the mirror and we're saying reality. And before it's too late, we want to do something. That's why I think you're here. You want to do something. And to do this, you were looking for something and they say, okay, I can't do it alone. Where do I go? Because I just don't want to go on these podcasts and sites. And people, yeah, and it's good for them too to get it off their chest and saying, this is bad, that's bad. But there's no solutions. There's no going somewhere. So here we don't talk about all the bad things that are going on. We know that what the bad things that are going on, the things that make us sick, the things that put a bad feeling somewhere. We just can't put our finger on it. But we want to do something about it, and the tools are here for just that. And we have people, Draco, Rakesh, a whole slew of tech guys, and we need more people like that. We need more people for security reasons, handling emails. Anyway, we hope that's who we need to get this thing off the ground. And we're getting there. We're getting there. We have a lot more people than we did a month ago. So we're growing, and because I think they get it. I hope I made myself clear. Maybe I talked too quickly. I'll try to slow down sometime. It's an inside joke. I'll try. But anyway,
I'm the slow
I hope I
talker.
explained somewhat of what the IOD Nations is all about. Take it
Okay,
away,
Thank
Joel.
Jeff.
and for everybody who doesn't know, Peter is from Canada, okay? And it may be that some of the more collaborative democracies that are functioning better around the world, we would, if anyone is here from a foreign country, we would love to talk with you and reach out to you. We've got a couple of people in England who we're beginning to work with. So
You
with that,
might not feel like you're in a foreign country. I mean, to you, you're in a country. To us, you're in a foreign country. So if you're in a country other than United States, please feel free to join us.
yeah, please help us. We need you.
We need help from everywhere. If you're an American, you're invited. And if you want to giggle a little bit right now, please come on up. If you just want to have your face with our faces, come on up. We want to see
Okay,
you.
so I'm gonna Draco's got his hand up. I'm gonna invite him in,
boy,
and then
Draco.
I'm gonna address Michelle's question. So go ahead, Draco. What are you thinking? Draco is
Do
our
I get
agent
to
of
see your
peace.
face? Draco has the best smile you'll ever see, but we have to get it. Oh my
There
God,
you go.
I get to see his smile. Oh, Draco, thank you, thank you.
Hello world. Hope
Hi.
everyone at peace.
Wonderful
And
to see you.
And yeah, we really want you to join with us so we can make more peaceful world. So right now, Bob with us in Zoom. So I'm really excited to hear from him.
From Bob?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll bring Bob in after I address Michelle's question, okay?
All right.
All right. Is that it, Draco?
Yeah. For now.
Okay.
He works
So
so
Drake,
hard. We have to give him a bravo. Thank you for everything you do for us, Draco.
so
Thank you, Charlene.
Michelle said, I'm not sure I even get how any of it works, but give me a step by step to unite in democracy. So I'll address that sentence first, Michelle. This is what is so absolutely amazing. We are the only human beings in history who have the opportunity to unite democratically by tapping our screens. Okay? Throughout history, we've evolved from cavemen up to where now we have nations and nation states. Nation states are the most powerful and influential forms of human collaboration because they have economies, they have cultures, they have, uh, you know, uh, dominant religions in some cases. They have, oh, damn, what am I? Their education systems, they have their nation, they have their land and borders, their natural resources. Okay. And so democracies up until now have always been land and border based, Michelle. And what we say is if a business no longer requires brick and mortar, then a nation no longer requires land and borders. So Amazon does have some brick and mortar, but their business model is built upon being an online store or marketplace. Okay. Well, there's all manner of different companies and corporations and entities who have built their own online marketplaces of different sizes. You can go to eBay, you can go to Etsy. There's all these different models. What would happen if the majority of the people around the world united online and they said, hey, I really only want to do business with companies and products and corporations and entities that I know are pro-democracy. And so, Michelle, for your first question, and I'm really breaking it down into these elementary steps. If 1 million people sent an email, let's say to NATO, that said, hello, or to the UN, hello, UN, I would like to be officially recognized as an online democratic citizen. Okay. It all depends on how many people send that email to the UN or to IOD nations, or if it's in California, to the governor's office. Those people are now in that one location. We're all online. Every one of us here is here because we granted Substack access to us. We granted Zoom access to us. Excuse me. And so the first part of your question, Michelle, is step by step. All we have to do, as Peter was saying, is get a really large number of people united online democratically, and then imagine all of the women's groups out there. You've got, now Planned Parenthood, um, whatever a bunch of those other groups are. Imagine that they all got together and said, hey, we're not having the effect we want. We want the Epstein files released. Let's all unite online. And then they can do that simply by tapping their screen together and going to one location. The next step in this step-by-step, Michelle, is now you've turned yourself into a world power. You may be a local power, a regional power, a national power, but if enough women do that online and they do it under the confines of being pro-democracy, now what you do is you ask the question, what can we do? What are the tactics and strategies that we can take all of this power and influence we now have by being united online, and how can we use that to get things to change? And I think what Peter was talking about, that it's, you know, it's so simple, but it's so profound, right? Is you can shut down if you so you have two avenues. So let's look at the positive avenue. If you want to, if let's say the women of the world are united online democratically, you have this positive way of exercising your power and influence just by determining that you're going to encourage companies, corporations, and products to market to you, and that they be and demonstrate their pro-democracy. And if you have 1 million or 1 billion women united online, you're going to have companies lining up, including Facebook, right? Right now, Facebook will not let us run ads, or dramatically hinders us to run an ad that has the words freedom and democracy in it. What the hell's going on with that? How is that doing anything for women's rights to not be able to talk and advertise freedom and democracy? So the women of the world who are united online can look at Facebook and say, we've got enough people and we've got the resources now. We can develop and implement our own online social network for the pro-democracy women of the world. And if you, Facebook, are not going to be pro-democracy and demonstrate to us that you fully stand with the pro-democracy women of the world, we will go find another social media platform. And the only question about that is, what's the number of women it takes? Could 10,000 women emailing Facebook telling them that they better get their shit together make a difference? We don't know. Could 100,000, if they all sent emails to Facebook and said, we would love to work with you. We want Facebook to be pro-freedom and democracy. We want to inspire you. But let's say Facebook decides not to, okay? One thing you can do is, if you want to be offensive and aggressive, you could go after them on phones and emails, and you could shut down their phone systems and their email systems. You could just overwhelm them if you have enough people, and it doesn't take that many people to do it, way less than you think. Because if Facebook doesn't want to be pro-democracy, you may decide you want to smack them upside the face a little bit and say, get your shit together, guys. But the other option you have is there's going to be all of these brilliant women who are working with you, and they're going to go in and use AI and or collaborate with Blue Sky, and they're going to develop their own online social network for the women of the world that will in turn be integrated with an online social network for the world that is pro-democracy. And Michelle, that is all available at the tap of a screen if enough of us do it. And that's how simple, but how profound this idea is. And can you imagine the changes that 1 million or 1 billion women united online could start accomplishing across the world? They could set up education systems. They could set up training systems both from a business and from an activist standpoint. And they could reach out and get the youth of the world to unite online and create the IOD Youth Nation, and they could collaborate together, because the confine or the constraint that all of these are working under is that they're pro-democracy. And so as long as the things they're proposing to do are pro-democracy, then they will want to unite and work together. I hope that answers your question. I'm going to open it back up for discussion. I want to say, just address a couple of questions that are out there. So Bob just said the oligarchy owns the computer resources. Bob, they may own and occupy space within the internet, like you saw inside that big circle. But the oligarchy doesn't own us, right? We do not access them. We grant them access to us. We have to accept that response ability, right? We have the response ability to put up filters and barriers to them getting access to us, unless they function and act in a pro-democratic way. We're the ones in control. Facebook can't sell advertising to empty space. Their advertising income, their whole business model is built upon how many of us as commodities. We are human commodities. How much access do they have to us? All we have to do is put up the filters and say, nope, you don't get that kind of access anymore. And then they will be coming to us. They will be coming to the women. So that's addressing what Bob said. And then Travis says, let's bring hope of change and redemption to the world through faith, not fear. Faith in people, community, family. Move as one, hand in hand, and we will move towards the sun. Travis, you are like Draco's and Chardonnay's brother and sister. Okay? They are here because they believe, we all are here because of that, but it just shines through them every time they talk. They are here because they believe in the intentional goodness of people. And they believe that if enough good people unite online and start working together, they can change the world. And that's what it's all about. It's the hope and the belief that if enough people unite online, we can change things. So, Draco, I will leave it up to you to determine what video you want to play next, and I'll open it up. Does uh, Bob or Jay, do either one of you want to come into the group and comment, or is there anyone else here in the group that would like to comment while we're here?
Oh, I did make a comment. I guess it didn't show up in the chat.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Not to be a pessimist, but as mentioned, we are the commodity and rely on the internet to communicate. There is no way to effectively so there's no way to effectively shut down the various social networks. You're exactly right, Jay. We don't propose to shut them down. What we propose to do is unite and become large enough that they want access to us because we're the commodity. So it isn't the idea of shutting them down. The idea is to exercise our power of collaboration and say, this is what you need to do now if you want access to us. And it was kind of like Bob said, the oligarchy owns the computer. Just you, it's like flipping a switch. How do you get away from the approach that we access the internet, that they are in control, right? And what we say is no, they access us through the internet, but only if we give them that opportunity. If we unite and collaborate, then we're in control. Do you see how you kind of flip that situation and change the dynamics of it? Does that make sense, Jay?
No, because it seems to me they still are in control because we rely on them for communication. There's no way that we can shut them down. So unlike boycotting a store you can effectively make change and have them change their policy, right? But the internet, there is no way that I can see we can effectively change their policy because we rely too much on them. This is the only way we communicate with one another.
So you don't think if a billion women said they were no longer going to use Facebook unless they showed themselves to be pro freedom and democracy, you don't think Facebook would react to that?
No, because they will still be in existence because there are far too many people who still rely on that social platform.
But they can still be in existence as long as we're not using them, right? If we want to make them half the size of what they are now, and we want to go exercise our power and influence on another social media platform, isn't that possible?
Well, it's possible. People try to do it with from Twitter to was it Blue? I can't remember the name of it.
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky,
Exactly.
exactly. But how effective
So
is that really?
so you just nailed it, Jay. You just nailed it right on the button. So what happened in that situation was a whole bunch of individual people and smaller groups tried to convince each other to go to Blue Sky and to unite on Blue Sky to be a different social media network. In that, is that a way to pull away from Facebook? Okay. The difference, what we're talking about and what we propose is to unite online first. Just forget about Facebook. Just forget about everything else. Just say, I'm so frustrated by what's happening. I feel like the oligarchy is taking over. I don't really know how to fight back. But there's this new idea that's out there that if we get a whole bunch of people to unite online as a big collaborative entity, maybe they will figure out a way to accomplish something that will work. And I'm so worried about what's happening. I'm going to not give up and I'm going to at least try that because, as Bernard Shaw said, you see things and ask why. I dream things and ask why not. Why not unite online and try it and just see what happens? What's the downside of that?
Well, certainly, it's worth a try. You know, so
Yeah, and
I
that's all
never lose
we're
hope.
yeah, that's all we're saying, Jay, is the hope, the try is to send an email and get a whole bunch of other people to send an email and unite and see what happens. And the to use the power of the internet, the most powerful tool and weapon that humanity has ever invented, to just use it and try and see what happens. And that's all we propose is um, see if something good will happen, because all it takes is to send an email. It's no, I mean, in the past, when, if you look at like the French Revolution or, you know, any times you look at what happened in Bangladesh, or you look at the Arab Spring, or all of these times when people have risen up and rebelled against an authoritarian regime, it took physical protest, it took violence in the streets, it took people being arrested and tortured and all of these things. And that's the way this has always happened throughout history. And we're the first generation of human beings that can now unite and protest and collaborate without having to go into the streets for violence. We can do it by joining together on our internet and see what happens. And that's what we propose, is just being willing to do that and try something different, because the regular shit's not working and we're not even sure our election's going to work. If you watched what Taiwan and V Taiwan have put in place regarding elections and voting, they had a 9% approval rating of their government, and their voting and democracy was still working better than ours is right now. They were worried about bots from China coming over and creating fake messaging. We have the majority, or in essence, the control of the one of the two political parties in the United States is a bot. They're spreading lies and disinformation. And this is a way to combat that. That's all we're saying.
No, you're exactly right. We can untweak the algorithm. Right now, Amazon is on top of everything because it made it so. So we're going to unmake it so. We are going to untweak their darn algorithm. We're going to put us on top of Amazon. We're going to put us on top of the others. We are going to untweak their darn algorithm. It's us first. You're
Chardonnay,
exactly right.
I never thought to explain it that way, because those algorithms
Joe just
are
explained it that way. I'm not taking any credit. Joe is the wise one. But I
okay.
just I
The
just I just blurped on it. You know me, I get
but
excited. But yeah,
yeah,
that's what
but
it is.
the thing is once you have a large number of people united online democratically, all of the algorithms are going to be changed, or a lot of them, or most of them will be changed, because now, if you're united online democratically, you control their access to you. They're going to be trying to figure out, how do we get access to Chardonnay and all of those women who are united across the world? And they can try and do that in sort of the dark arts and see if they can squeeze through. But Chardonnay and the women of the world are way freaking smarter than that. And they're going to put up filters that say, if you want direct access to us without being unfiltered, and by being unfiltered, I mean, let's say that you are Amazon, or you are someone who is selling a product. And the women of the world say, can you tell us how you're pro-democracy and how you're supporting women's rights? And they say, well, we don't really have anything active than we're doing for that. And you say, okay, well, that's your prerogative. We will allow you to come into our marketplace, but when you come in, we put a filter on it, and it says, you're not pro-democracy and you're not pro-women's rights. And here's another location where you can buy a similar, or the someone who is pro-democracy and pro-women's rights. And the women, it's their online marketplace. They get to make the rules. They get to set it up however they want. And
See,
they may go ahead.
I have another idea for women. I've had it for a long time, but now our so-called government is really ticking me off. So I really want to see what we can do about it. I think it might be called the Chastity Rebellion. I've had it with everybody gets their free purple pills and everything, and the women don't get anything. So I think that if the women just said no until they get their rights, we would have a lot more say and we would have a lot of things moving a lot faster.
Here's a question for you. Did you know that there have actually been movements
Yes,
that
in the
propose
past,
exactly?
in other
Yeah, but
countries and in other years, and they were very, very effective.
I know
Men can't
Peru did
think
it
if
at
they
one
got their
time.
purple pills and they're going to waste.
So now imagine, Chardonnay,
I didn't
that
get to be this
you,
age for nothing, you know.
yep. Imagine
Continue.
you're a citizen of the IOD Women's Nation, and you put together that proposal, and instead of a small group of women in any particular nation or any particular region proposing that, imagine you put that up for a vote in front of 1 million or 1 billion women across the world. How effective, how much more effective do you think that would be? Just purely the
Think of the
news
visual.
reporting
Think
on
of
it.
the visuals. Remember the old chastity belts? I mean, they had them in Monty Python. It would be so easy to just make fake ones or whatever, you know. Wouldn't be that expensive. Women could find a way to make them, you know.
The
Excuse me,
whole
I
thing,
broken.
no worries. The whole thing hinges upon what we were
Yes.
talking to Michelle about, right?
Yep.
You and to Jay about. You get the people united first. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
keeps thinking about all of these individual causes and these individual issues and all of these things. The trick is to flip that switch and say, I'm not going to worry about anything individual. All I'm worried about is being pro-democracy because democracy is at risk. China thinks if you didn't see what Chairman Xi did to Donald Trump, okay, he basically came out and said in front of the whole world, China is, I forget what he called it. There's a Greek term for it. Starts with a thie. Rakesh, can you put it
Thucydides.
into our notes? What was it?
Thucydides. Thucydides trap.
Say,
Thucydides.
okay, Thucydides trap. And can you explain it, Jay? Do you remember the details of it? Because I'll probably screw it up.
Not really. I think it has something to do with both sides going to war and no one winning. That's what I think it is.
Kind of. Yeah, most wars, neither side really wins.
Yeah.
But my understanding of it is this, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, but I'll say Thucydides trap. And that is when there's a change in world power structures. So it referred to um, uh, there were the Greeks and there was another group that starts with S, and they were the two
Spartans.
powerful Spartans, yes. And Thucydides' trap was when there's a change in that power structure. So let's say that in this situation, the Greeks were the predominant power, like the United States has been for years. And the Spartans began to grow in power and influence, and they began to become the most powerful force in the region. And Thucydides' trap is the Greeks deciding to fight the Spartans just because they're becoming more powerful, and that's a really poor reason to go to war. And what China was saying is, we're now becoming the world power. The United States is no longer the world power, and it would be a massive mistake for you to think that war with us is a good thing. And that is, in essence, China dictating now and making themselves the predominant world power. What happens is when the women of the world unite online, you become a world power, and you have women from all over the world. And in the you can influence whether we go to war. You create your own economy, and if the Chinese want to manufacture products to sell to women while at the same time they're funding wars to destroy democracy, the women of the world are united online. They have the ability to say, oh, hell no. Um, Not only are we going to look for alternatives to doing business with you, China, we're going to create them. We're a world power. We're a million or a billion strong, and we're going to go out and develop business relationships that make you obsolete. And that is the power and influence that Peter was describing, that it becomes this macro issue where it changes world power structures.
Because if you think about it, I mean, Putin was really afraid of the mamas of his country when they started getting ticked at him for killing the boys that they gave birth to and raised. And they said, what do you think you're doing to our sons? And he started getting a little bit nervous there for a while. And then he started saying, well, all right, I'll use the prisoners, or I'll use people from over here, and I'll use people from over here. And then he started lying to him some more and saying, oh, it's better than you think, and not showing war pictures. And so they said, all right, well, if you're not killing our sons, we'll back down or something. But when they were seeing the actual pictures and they were seeing their sons coming back, he was afraid of mama. So,
Yep. And Putin's economy, the Russian economy is demolished. And as we move this forward, we're gonna move past this, and we're gonna work towards the end of the show, and we're gonna talk about how you can participate and what we're working on today to do to bring more people in and to amplify the visibility of what's possible. But if you haven't really followed what's going on over there, the Russian economy is decimated. Um, they they will be set back 50 to 100 years by what's happened. But what a lot of people don't know is that China has been funding this war
oh
the
gosh,
whole
yes.
time, and China is now obtaining control over some of the biggest industries in Russia. And because Siberia borders China, China has, in essence, manipulated and blackmailed Putin into giving up all manner of natural resources and access to parts of that region, because Putin made this just abomination of a decision to invade Ukraine. And now he was trying to build the Russian Empire, and now he's breaking it down and destroying it with his ignorance and his arrogance. And so the world is changing. The the there's there's always a game of world domination going. You can go back to Genghis Khan and Alexander the Great and Napoleon and Hitler, and in ways the United States and Great Britain, right? There are always entities right, which have either been nation states or nations in modern history that are trying to gain dominion, power, and influence within the world. And China believes that they may even believe that they've executed a checkmate and that they
Oh
have
gosh.
already won all of this. And the thing is, the women of the world could unite online and they could just cancel China. It's that easy because everything runs through the internet, every aspect of our lives. And that's why we're here, is to try and get you to join us in thinking that it's possible to change all of this. So,
And I
Michelle,
still believe if you build it, they will come, and we're building it.
that's exactly right. So, we didn't play our videos from Simon Sinek and Trevor Noah and Stephen Bartlett today. And we're not going to at this point. What we're going to do is let everyone who's here know. The guys will put an email address in both of the chats that anyone who would like to participate, we're going to have an email campaign that's going out to all of our volunteers, and we
I
are
put
going to send Go ahead.
I put the email address. I put a call for please tell us what you would like, what you specialize in, how you like to help us, and the things that we would need, and anything else that you would like to help us with, because we are building a strong foundation, and you could be not only founding fathers, but founding mothers, founding parents. And this is the time to become founding parents. And we would love to have your help in any way. If you have things you love to do, if you love to write, if you're an accountant and you love to play with numbers, if you want, oh gosh, if you're a lawyer, if you're international law, any kind of like, we want to start with really strong foundations, so nobody, like the orange guy, if he wants to, if anybody's trying to sue us or anything, we want to be strong and unsuable. We just want to start, and just when we take off, we want to take off with no problems, every angle covered. So whatever you specialize in, please, we want your help.
So we are going to send out an email today. We're gonna share it with all the volunteers that we've gotten. We've had somewhere between 200 and 300 people volunteer. This email is going to go to Audrey Tung, with V Taiwan, uh, um, Trevor Noah, Simon Sinek, and Stephen Bartlett. And we're going to ask all of them for permission to use the material that we've got in videos. We're going to urge them to look at what we're talking about and to help us get the discussion going around the world about what online citizen-led democracy can become and what the future can look like. So I'm going to put this email.
We also need
Go
to
ahead.
send, we also, please, 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 if you haven't already, because I know you guys are, hold on. Wait a second, I gotta.
Okay. So hey, Rakesh, I don't see where I put the email in there showing up. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're asking anyone who would like to participate in that email campaign. We believe that if we can get just one influencer, one person who has a credible audience, we believe that we can dramatically move this forward. And I see Peter has his hand up. Peter, go ahead.
I just want to add to that, we're not selling you anything but an idea. This is not anything new. Countries are doing it already, and we can take that working model with us. I felt sometimes, am I putting myself at risk here? But again, hey, I believe in a democracy. I wouldn't want to believe in living in any other type of lifestyle but a democracy. So I damn well will put my life on the line if need be. But I don't think anybody has to do that. And like Joel said, all we need is this and people. And if there's other driving forces that, try to spam and all the stuff that I'm not familiar with, so be it. We'll take care of it from there. But there's nothing illegal or uh, heavy-handed that we're doing or promoting on this channel or on this for this movement. Nothing. It's all responsible people going we're on a path in a direction of what it should be like as a human society, in a humanist way, to unite people, to get people together with common goals, and for the better of humanity. I just wanted to add that in.
Cool.
Thank you,
And
Peter.
then you had something, Chardonnay?
Yes, please. Um, and I will lower my hand so I don't forget. Okay. Uh, just for all of us, I love the music that you play on the things, but please, if you haven't already, uh, get permission to use it. I don't want anybody to hear it and say, I didn't give you permission to use my music. So just send an email. I'm sure for what we're using it for, they're not going to say no, but I I know you guys play music and I know you record some and I know that you appreciate, you know, the copyright. So just so that we're covered and
Absolutely.
that we respect them for their music.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Thanks.
Okay. So if anyone here would, hopefully, if you're interested, you have shot us an email. Other than that, hey, Draco, let's close out with the Matrix video and we will end the show. So if you're here and you haven't seen this video,
I like
we made
Draco's
it.
video.
We can throw that at the end too.
Thank
They're
you.
both very short. We
They
made
are.
this
I love
video
them both.
before Peter came in, okay? And this was one of the ways that we hooked Peter because what did you say, Peter? How many times have you watched The Matrix?
I must have watched that movie about 110 times.
Oh my.
Oh my God.
All three of
And
them.
I've never seen it, but this is our fun take on how IOD nations and online citizen-led democracy is like its own matrix. It's its own online democratic entity that occupies a space in this thing that we call the internet. And that space is the space where we, the pro democracy citizens of the world, choose to unite. And when we do that, there's so many of us, right? Think about it. I forget what the numbers are. There's like Draco, you're pulling that up, right? I think does anybody know there's like 6 billion people or 7 billion people or 8 billion people on planet Earth? Okay. So if you accept that roughly 50% of them or 51% are women, that's like 3 billion. Okay. The only group that I can think of that would fit under any umbrella that is larger than men or women is pro-democracy citizens. If you go to our website, IOD Nations, iodnations.org. You can see the Meritocracy Manifesto, which discusses this, and our book, The Recipe, which talks about this, okay? Pro-democracy citizens of the world are the largest group of human beings that I can imagine. Why wouldn't we want to use the internet and unite online and exercise our power and influence? So here's our video.
This is our construct. A planet of continents, of land and borders. At least, that's what previous generations believe. This is our real construct. The trad world is now subservient to our virtual world. Welcome to the real world, Neo. A brave new international online democratic world. Buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, because Elon is about to go bye-bye.
So, we do not access the internet. We filter their access to us. We are the internet. Holy shit, we can save Zelensky and Ukraine.
When the world's youth and others unite online, freedom, democracy, and the world's pro-democracy citizens will now rule the world. All that must occur is for people to send an email to NATO. Those emails comprise their online citizenship.
Could they save world democracy?
Once united online, by the millions, we are the cure.
So, international online democracy is the new construct.
If they build it, I will come.
So you're here to save the world.
No one has ever done anything like this.
That's why it's going to work.
Okay, Draco. Thank you. All right, guys. For those of you who are here, we're going to do a brief meetup to talk about the emails that we're sending and sort of review what we have going, how our outreach to volunteers emails are going. I'm going to take about 10 minutes. But we
Break time is
can
good.
stop this. We can stop this live feed. And for everybody who's here, we would like to thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Share the idea of the pro-democracy citizens of the world uniting online democratically with as many people as you can, because the more people start to talk about and think about this, the more quickly it will happen. So we just appreciate you coming here and spending your time with us, and we hope to get the opportunity to work with you in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming. I appreciate you. I love you.
Take care.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Joe. See you next time, I hope.
Hello, good people. Myself, Draco, and I'm an agent of peace. If you ever feel like the world is heading toward chaos and hope is fading, I want to offer you a spark of light. IOD Nations, an online democracy for all of us who seek freedom, democracy, and peace.
I have to see this
It's a
before
place
break.
where we can come together, unite, and make things better. So stay united, stay strong. It would mean a lot to me if you stand with us to make a peaceful world.
Draco, you make me cry every time. I love you.
I tell you. All right, I'll be back in a few minutes, guys.
He does every single time. Oh my God. He just captures it. I want to put that in every email.